When our feathered friends are in need of some help, there is a place that is strictly dedicated to birds. We are visiting the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary. And we're meeting this sleepy tiger. And Onyx deserves a rest. He has had a difficult past. This and much more straight ahead on Animal Outtakes. Hello and welcome to Animal Outtakes. I'm Marcia Panucci and this is my best friend Zeus. They evolved from dinosaurs and can be found just about everywhere on Earth. From deserts to mountains, from forests to your backyard, you can find a bird. This week on Animal Outtakes, we visit a sanctuary that specializes in getting our feathered friends back to the wild.
The Seaside Seabird Sanctuary is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and our main mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and sick, injured, and orphaned wild birds in the hopes of being able to release them back into the wild.
It's located in the small community of Indian Shores, a barrier island on the Gulf Coast of Florida. The sanctuary is a special treasure to the town.
We kind of function as two kind of entities. We have the rescue and rehabilitation part with our hospital that's on site, which on average we have on average about 3,000 birds per year admitted into the hospital. But on top of that, we're also unique as we're open to the public, almost like a zoo or any other attraction. Visitors can come in and actually view all the permanently disabled residents we have living at the facility that cannot be released due to whatever permanent injury they have. We currently right now have about 112 permanently disabled residents living on site that visitors can view. They range anywhere from the common backyard blue jays up to the great horned owls, to pelicans, to hawks, you name it. We have a fairly good example here, about 23 different species here.
Because of the sanctuary's location, they treat both seabirds and birds you would find inland too, and many that are just dropping by. Looking up in the trees, you'll see even more birds. But these are not being treated by the sanctuary. They're all wild.
This is their natural habitat. This is where they nest, right here on the beach in the trees. But the reason a lot of people just think that there's something about this place, that they come here, they flock here, or they're residents here, it's simply because we're sandwiched in between all these condos that have built up on the beaches. And it's taken away from the natural foliage, the trees, and their natural environment that they call home. So they're all here because this is their natural environment, and there's really no place suitable right around.
There is a shocking abundance of them, showing firsthand how development is one of the factors that has an impact on animals. And when it comes to those birds being treated here, 90% of the injuries are attributed to humans. Keith, we're standing here in the hospital, and you know, normally it's kind of a sad place, but these birds are making us happy, so you must be rehabilitating them. And so what do we see here in the hospital?
Sure. In here right now, I mean, we have a full capacity in this. The full capacity here in this hospital is several hundred birds we could treat inside here. We have cages that we have about 121 cages just inside this hospital alone. Depending on the season, it would be very crowded in here. Right now, we're not quite into to busy season.
I have somebody peeking out over here, and we've got somebody taking their morning nap over here. And this guy over here, isn't he adorable? Yes, he's going to show off. He's going to say, okay, here's my wings. What happened to him?
This is a juvenile eastern brown pelican. So he's the pelicans that you see all over the place here. He is a younger one, and we tell that by his coloring. And this guy is in here, for example. He just came in. Somebody had brought him in, found him on one of the islands off the Intercoastal Waterway. And he was not very mobile, just kind of a little, not completely lethargic, but just not moving around like he should have been. So she was worried about him. She brought him into us. We checked him out. He was dehydrated. At the beginning, when he first came in, we gave him fluids, subcutaneous fluids to make sure that to get him rehydrated. And we would do that up until at the point making sure he's drinking on his own and eating on his own. And we'll continue to monitor the weight. And as long as all that's fine and he's hydrated, his weight is where it should be, he's eating for himself and taking care of himself, then the next stage what we would do is we would take him out to our rehabilitation area where he would be in a general population with other pelicans that we're rehabbing. And that's just to make sure that he is flying okay and we're confident that he can be released and take care of himself.
Pelicans have the largest bills of any bird species, and it's this big beak that can get them in trouble. Later in the show, what you can do if you notice a pelican or another bird that is hooked with a fishing line. Stay with us. More Animal Outtakes is next. Many active duty servicemen and women face a dilemma as they prepare for deployment. Who will look after their canine companion until they return? Dantes Den provides temporary boarding for their dogs as they serve. We honor the trust placed in us by members of the armed forces by giving their furry friends loving care, spacious dens, on-site veterinary care, and plenty of room to run and play. For more information, go to dantesden.org or call 844-DANTES-DEN.
People have asked me what it'll cost to restore all the corals back the way they remember. But I have to ask them, what will it cost if we don't do anything?
Welcome back. Octagon Wildlife Sanctuary is home to animals that have been abandoned or neglected. And for a male Bengal tiger named Onyx, Octagon is now his permanent home.
A lot of times you'll see him playing with that big tube. I can hardly move that tube over there, and the tigers bat it around like it's a balloon. It's just incredible to see to see how powerful they really are.
And I would say the same for that ball over there too.
Yes.
Well, this is Onyx. The tiger sleeps tonight comes to mind. Just like a big, cuddly, stuffed animal that you just don't get too close to. What is Onyx's story?
Well, Onyx was brought here as a cub. The people that owned him wanted to keep him small for photography, as in many cases people do. They only fed him cow's milk, which is extremely toxic. So as a result of that, his digestive system never developed. So Lori, our director, bottle fed him every couple of hours, goat's milk, and tried to get his system to develop. Gradually, he got better, and we were able to feed him ground beef, ground pork, and ground chicken. We introduced boneless chicken to him at one point, so he could get the feeling of having a hunk of meat. And gradually, as he got better, we were able to introduce chicken with bones and different types of poultry, turkey.
Now, obviously, he's a smaller size. And they did that on purpose?
Well, they tried. He's a pretty big big tiger, yeah.
But he's kind of all cuddled up
all
there.
curled up right now.
So we can't really see that full physique. Now, how old is he now?
So Onyx is 15.
Okay, so he still has a lot of life left into him. Now, that he's getting a better diet, are you seeing activity rather normal, or are we still seeing some restrictive activity?
No, he does act pretty normal. He's not real active, but he's comfortable. We do have to put mineral oil in his water, so that it helps aid in his digestion and aids in him eliminating. But on a whole, I would say he's doing really well.
And leading a very normal, at this point, and happy life.
Absolutely.
And certainly extremely relaxed.
Extremely relaxed, yes.
For the rest of his life, Onyx will need to be on a special diet adapted just for him. Right after the break, we're back at the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary to learn how we can help a bird in distress, one caught up in fishing line.
My name is Blake. I received a heart transplant when I was 2 weeks old. I play defense for the Red Hot Tornadoes. Sometimes my heart starts pounding like faster and faster as I go. I know I have someone else's heart inside me. It makes me feel happy because someone was generous enough to give me a second chance to live.
This gift of life was made possible by an organ donor. Imagine what you could make possible. Sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
I can't believe they charged me this much. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Go to CashNetUSA.com now. If approved, you may get the money you need as soon as tomorrow.
Thanks. Who are you?
I'm CashNetUSA.com. Man.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us swim! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
In Florida, pelicans can be found anywhere people are fishing, hanging out along a fishing pier to sitting in the water and just watching you fish off your boat. What they're waiting for is an easy meal, but this is what gets them into a lot of trouble. Pelicans being hooked is one of the most common bird health issues staff at the Seaside Seabird Sanctuary have to deal with. This is awful.
Yes,
to just even look at, let alone understand how it even got here. Could you tell us?
So this is all fishing line and hooks that we have removed from birds that have been admitted here. This is all within the last 3 to 4 months. So this is the most common thing that we see, and it's really irresponsible fishermen. So they throw this on the ground, they don't properly dispose of it. They'll accidentally hook a bird and they'll just cut the line, and that leaves that hanging on that bird until, unfortunately, we find them. So it's a lot of just human error and human apathy to properly disposing of this.
Now, when you look at a hook like this, I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, even to my touch. And to find out that these poor birds are swallowing this, and there is an x-ray right behind me of one of your patients where it clearly shows that there is a hook just like this embedded in probably the abdominal area of that bird. So when you find something like this, after you take that deep breath, how do we get this out?
So it really depends on where it is. So if you do have hooks that are internal Usually that requires surgery. Depending on where it is, we would need a radiograph to determine where in the stomach it is. Birds actually have a proventriculus and a ventriculus, so it's two separate stomachs. And so that really also complicates depending on where the hook is located. If it's something external, we often can do it here, and it's also something very simple that we can actually teach the public so that instead of cutting that line, you can actually remove that hook and let that bird go free without the hooks in them. He's actually one of our patients right now. Ooh, I'm going to take him out so it's easier to see. All right, so this is one of our patients that we're actually currently treating for a hook injury. You can see he's holding that leg up. He had an embedded hook in the thigh there that was removed by our veterinarian, Dr. Zellner. But if you do happen to hook a pelican, all we ask is you gently reel that bird in, and then, very nice. If you have a towel, a shirt, really anything, you're gonna wanna drape it over the head. And then you can get the body under your arm. And the important thing with pelicans is that they actually are obligate breathers or mouth breathers. So they need to have their mouth held open so that they can breathe. So you'll see I'm holding both his upper and lower beak open. And this is how you would properly restrain a pelican. And then from here, you'd either, if you feel confident taking the hook out yourself, you can do that, or you'd wait for assistance from a rehabilitator. So I'm going to demonstrate how to remove a hook from a bird. So you see this hook here. If you look closely, you see that the hook has a barb at the end. So you don't want to pull it out with the barb still intact, because that could cause further damage to the bird. So let's say this is a bird here. You just take the hook, and you'll actually want to push that through so that you can see the barb. And then you'll need cutters, and you'll want to cut that barb off. And so now you can safely pull the rest of that hook out, and you have effectively unhooked a bird, and they can go on their way. This is, 90% of the injuries that we see for pelicans, cormorants, laughing gulls, terns, great blue herons, things like that. It's the most common injury that we see.
Remember, if you're fishing and you end up hooking a bird, don't cut the line. For more information how to safely remove a hook, visit the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission's website at myfwc.com. You can find it under the Education tab. Stay with us. There's more Animal Outtakes coming up.
Did you know you could get life insurance in just a few minutes? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with just a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, TruStage guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you. TruStage cares for you the same way you care for your family. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance, and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now. Any amount of protection can help, and you are guaranteed to be accepted. In just a few minutes, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Getting life insurance can be fast and easy, and it could cost less than you think. Plus, your price will never increase, and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-809-8372 now for a free, no-obligation quote. It's fast and easy. Plus, you get TruStage's 30-day satisfaction guarantee. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone. with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-809-8372 today.
So now we have this adorable creature who I do know is a permanent resident here. He has a name.
Yes, his name is Rufus, and he is an eastern screech owl. And he came here at the beginning of 2016 after likely being hit by a car. So when he first came in, he was blind in both eyes. He also had severe auricular or ear trauma and head trauma as well. Since then, he has regained vision in the left eye, but he is still blind in the right eye.
And he's doing very, very well.
He's doing very well,
Very
yes.
well, yes. And he's, oh, you're winking at me and I'm loving that, yes. What is the life expectancy of Rufus?
So they can usually live into the early teens in the wilds. For him, I'd expect him to get closer to 15 to 16 years old.
So he's got a long life to go here.
Yes, and we guess that he is about 3 years of age. So he's got some time with us left, which we're very thankful for.
Yes, he is adorable. And look at all of this beautiful plumage here, like somebody took a paintbrush and just kind of speckled him up just a little bit. Yeah. And you know, for what happened to him, whatever it was, because of the wonderful, compassionate care you have given him, he's not stressed.
No.
As a matter of fact, a general observation is that none of these birds here are stressed, and yet they came in the worst possible condition that they could. So what do you attest that to? Is it the compassionate care that you give, the loving care, they feel secure? What is it?
I would hope it's that, because their quality of life is our utmost importance. So anything to improve their quality of life, anything to enrich their lives is really our main focus. So we spend a lot of time ensuring that they live a great life here, that they do feel safe, they're very, very well fed. And so I hope that is why they feel that way.
You have a beautiful sign as you enter the facility, and it's the definition of a sanctuary. You take care of life, and life is always respected in a sanctuary. Rufus, you are definitely respected. We're so happy to welcome Dr. Alan Glassman to Animal Outtakes. He is one of our medical staff at Dantes Den, and you're going to teach us about something, are you not?
I hope. We're going to talk a little about x-rays, of course, the technical name radiographs that your pet may get at the vet. And the old-fashioned, and still people do use it, I shouldn't say that, the x-ray films that get slapped up on the view box was the way that most all of us took x-rays. Now it's mostly digitized on computers. So most vets now have it on a system where you'll bring it up on the computer screen.
Okay, so now, Dr. Glassman, you've pulled up an x-ray that has a mysterious foreign body into it. Right, it's a little hard to tell what this is, but it is quite a bit.
We're going to talk about some normal things you might find inside a body and some abnormal things, and this is totally normal. This is for puppies. And it's hard to see because they're all kind of overlapping each other. You can see the head very clearly there, and a couple other heads over here.
Two,
and I think
three,
there's a fourth
four.
one there. Yeah, so that's what puppies look like. And these are pretty well developed. They're probably ready to be born. Okay.
Well, here we're looking at an x-ray. I can tell you, it's a fish hook, and it just makes me cringe.
Yeah, it's amazing the things that mostly dogs, cats certainly eat things too, but dogs tend to be more adept at it, and it's a big fish hook, and it's probably mostly in the stomach and a little bit in the esophagus. The long part, straight part's probably still on the way to the stomach.
Now, as they swallow it, isn't it piercing on the way down?
It's amazing how far sharp objects get. It's yeah, sure, things perforate, things puncture, but it's amazing how far they can go sometimes without causing damage till they get stuck.
Now, this would have to be surgically
Right. This pet would probably have abdominal surgery. The surgeon would go into the stomach and hopefully pull it out pretty easy, hopefully without, the point tearing or piercing something.
and then hopefully would never do this again. So now we have another one, Dr. Glassman, and this is a knife, this is a chisel, this is something.
Right, it's evidently a bread knife, and it's huge. It goes from probably the bottom of the esophagus all the way into the stomach. It's a huge knife, and we're not even seeing the wood handle on it, too.
How? How do they do this?
I don't know. It's pretty amazing. And you think, it certainly can't taste good, but
No,
they do this kind of...
So let's talk about that, though. They see this knife, oh, this is something I want. What are they doing? Actually inhaling? And is the saliva pushing it down? They're certainly not chewing this.
Yeah, no, it's just swallowed. I imagine they pick it up because it's something interesting new. Let's taste this. Let's see what it is. And they put it in their mouth and start to swallow it. And it's amazing that something like that can go down.
And without harming the esophagus
or any other... this esophagus could be lacerated.
It could be.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So then again, another surgery.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is when the parents, such as me, would be out on the floor panicked.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now here we have one. I know what this is, Dr. Glassman. Mothballs.
Try pool table balls.
No.
Yep, 8 of them.
How? Why? How?
Well, why is how I know, sort of. Why is another question.
And again, this is lodged in the abdominal?
This is all in the stomach. Yeah, you can see the spine here. And actually, yeah, they made it all the way to the stomach. You can see the black, the air around in the stomach, and the abdomen is this way.
I can't imagine, because these things don't have any taste. I mean, what are they? What is the joy of this?
You gotta ask the dog.
This costs money, right?
Oh, of course.
For the owner.
Yeah.
What are we talking about roughly for this type of surgery?
Well, again, it varies from hospital to hospital, doctor to doctor, area to area, city to city, of course. But I would say minimum exploratory surgery. You got to go in, you got to open the stomach, you got to close the stomach, you got to make sure everything's clean. It's a big process. Absolute minimum, I would think of $1,000 up to maybe about $3,000.
You get it out, whatever it is. How do you prevent this again?
Well, that's very hard. I took earplugs twice out of a cat until the owner finally realized I better not leave my earplugs on the bed table anymore. But yeah, some pets have to be restricted either to one room of the house if you're away or working, whatever, or crated like dogs. A lot of dogs are crate trained and stay in their crate during the day and just physically keep them away from things like little children. You just have to physically keep them out of their own harm's way.
So we need to animal proof.
Right. Animal proof, like you would child-proof a house for a baby, right?
Yes.
You got it.
And not assume that they're going to walk past something.
Oh no, it's just like having a baby. They're going to get into everything.
We hope you had fun and learned a thing or two. Zeus and I will be back here again next week with even more animals and some wild adventures. Until then, thanks for watching. They evolved from dinosaurs and can be found just about everywhere on Earth. From I was going to say desserts. You can see where my mind is. Okay.
When money's tight and emergencies arise, CashNetUSA.com is available 24/7 to deliver quick loans for approved customers when they need it the most.
Apply now at CashNetUSA.com.
Money's on the way with CashNet USA.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
breaking news, plus first alert weather and traffic focused on where you live. Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7, weekdays starting at 5. ABC 7, the Suncoast's official Florida lottery station.